Ladies and gentlemen, lend me your ears and your eyes. Diva Divine Light, live from Brooklyn, New York.
Know your lane for what you saying, yo. Silly with my 9 milli with the dilly, yo. When I be on the mic, yes, I do my duty, yo. While up in the club, every while in the studio. You don't wanna violate, nigga, really and truly, yo. My main thug, nigga named Julio, he moody, yo. I'm a nigga that'll slap me with the tulio. Bitch, nigga scared to death, act fruity, yo. Fuck that, nigga shorty, she a little cutie, yo. The way you shake it, make me wanna get all in the booty, yo. With no lane for what you saying, yo.
Diva Divine Light.
Really my heart to me. That's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. That's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you.
You're watching Diva, the Divine Light. A fun-loving, caring, passionate person who talks about sex, celebrity, and real-life issues, and even abuse. So hit that like button and make sure you share the show.
Really my heart to me. That's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. That's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. That's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. That's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you.
Here comes the pitch, and it comes in wide. On the combo.
Yo, 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 yo. Hello, 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 my ladies in the chat. My girls, Sharia Mexicana, are in the building. What's up, guys? What's up, Bushwatchers? Come out in the chat, y'all. Come on now. Stop. Why y'all in the fucking bushes? Come out. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody evening going? Hey, Shirley. What's up, mama? What's up, my ladies? Hey, Queen. What's up, baby? So, we're going to continue our journey of the man behind the man, Looking from the Inside Out by Demetrius Smith. We are repeating quotes from the book. So, I hope everybody has had a good evening so far. And I hope you guys are enjoying the book and grabbing a lot of information. Are you guys getting a lot of information or what? It's crazy, right? So far, this book has been a little crazy. Just a little bit. Yes, sir, Bob. Yes, guys, please don't forget to hit the like button on your way in. All right. Bush people as well. Yes, please. Thank you. Gracias. Mertice, what's up, my lady? How are you? Good evening. My voice has been scratchy, horsey, scratchy. So we are going to continue this. I also found another interview that Demetrius Smith had did with another blogger. And I will present that to you guys a little bit later. I don't know if you guys want to watch some of the interview now. It's a really long interview. I don't really want to play the whole thing. I don't know if I should. I'll just play a little bit and drop the link, and you guys can go over there and watch the rest of the interview yourself. And when you do, please make sure you give the person a like and subscribe to their channel, okay? Because any content that I play on this channel, it is not my content, it is for learning purposes. So as part of the Fair Use Act, that's what I do. So I drop the link so you guys can go over, like the video, leave your comment in the video if you want, and also watch the video, subscribe to the channel. Okay, it's very much appreciated, guys. All right. Okay. So what should I do? No sound? You have no sound, guys? You guys have no sound? There's no sound? You don't hear me? Give me another microphone check, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you guys hear me. Let me know. Do you hear me? Give me a thumbs up, y'all. Let me know your microphone check. Make sure we're ready to rock and roll before I get anything started. I'm trying not to speak too loud and yell and shit. Y'all know I'll be yelling and stuff when I get excited. So do you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Somebody give me a thumbs up, please. Okay, you can hear me? All right. All right, guys. So what should I do? Do you guys want to hear a little bit of the interview first and then get into the reading, or get into the reading and then watch some of the video? What y'all want to do? It's what y'all want to do. What you feel like doing right now. I'm giving you guys the floor. The ball is in your court, guys. Hey, shorty, what's up, mama? Okay, you have sound now, queen. Matisse, do you hear me, baby? What's up, shorty, rah? So what you guys want to do? Y'all want to watch the video first, or you want to get into the reading? Which one? Interview? Okay, so we'll watch the interview first. All right. Cherie had a request. She said interview first. So we're going to go with Cherie. All right, baby. So now this interview, it's actually, she said it was a replay. This interview was about a year ago. And the channel is Celebrity Scandalust. All right, Scandalust. Celebrity Scandalust. Like lust. And it's one word altogether. Scandalust. All right. So I'm going to drop the link to the channel in the chat. You guys, please go and subscribe to her channel. Give her her flowers and her credit, please. Like the video. Thank you. And as I said, this is not my content. This is her content. I'm just sharing the information with the people. I had got a copyright claim, man, and they blocked the video in Russia. So I can't even get monetized. So I had to delete that video, trim out that part with the video. And yeah. So okay. Let me go to share my screen. Which one am I doing? Wait. Yeah, we're doing this one right here, right? Yeah, we're doing this one. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, guys. So when I start playing the video, give me a thumbs up once it starts playing, and let me know that you guys have a good sound, okay? All right, let's get this started.
Again, my name is Demetrius Smith. I was R. Kelly's former personal assistant and tour manager. I worked with R. Kelly from 1985 to 1995. I worked with R. Kelly during the early years of his career. 10 years ago, I released a book entitled The Man Behind the Man, Looking from the Inside Out. That book was released, and the media knew about it.
Okay.
And it describes my relationship with Robert beginning in his early years. I was an entertainer when I met Robert.
Mm-hmm.
I was a singer, and I was on like a break for the end of the winter time because it was hard traveling on the highways in Chicago in the winter in the back of a U-Haul truck. So we took a break, and I went to work with my friend Cliff, and he taught me how to be an anchor man. And we videotaped different talent shows.
Okay.
This particular night, we went to Kenwood Academy where I saw Robert Kelly on stage, a shy, bashful kid, and he performed an original song which captivated the audience and me.
So that's where you met R. Kelly. Yes. At the time he was Robert, and he was a kid. About how old was he at that time?
He was 16 at that time.
Okay, so you made a couple points that I just want to go back on. You said you wrote your book 10 years ago.
Yes.
So this is not. So I saw you in the Lifetime docuseries Surviving R. Kelly. So your book, because I've read your book, details some of the things that the girls are talking about now. So you came out with some of these allegations years ago, a decade ago.
Yes, I did. I was pretty much one of the first ones that exposed. Well, when it was presented to me that R. Kelly was really having affairs with a young girl, it was Tiffany Hawkins, and
okay.
I took Tiffany to an attorney. Because I don't do police. I was younger then too. This was all a new experience to me.
So I'm gonna stop you right there, Demetrius, because I want everybody to really follow this timeline. When you wrote your book, you weren't writing about R. Kelly. It was an autobiography about your life, and it happened to include or be connected to R. Kelly, right? So this wasn't when you were writing about some of these sexcapades and all this. You weren't really doing a tell-all about him. You were just talking about your life.
Well, yes. When I left R. Kelly in 95, it was a difficult time for me. And I left him. I was broke. When I left him, I had 4 children that my sisters were keeping for me while I worked with him. I was a single parent. And when I left R. Kelly, it was time to go home and make a home for my children that we never had. And
how could you be broke working with R. Kelly?
Robert Kelly didn't pay anyone. Robert Kelly he didn't treat his people good. He didn't treat us good. In the beginning, we worked without money. I worked with him 5.5 years before he even got a deal. And that was my own sacrifices. I began to put him in. I had a band put together for him that included his brother Bruce. Killer was supposed to be, one of the acts, and we got that going, and it seemed like it had great potential because I wanted to put Robert on the road to do the military circuit. I wanted him to work to earn his money, and what happened was that I took him to people that were sponsoring me when I was singing, and I introduced him to them, and they took a liking to him instantly and began to finance us, putting them in the studio, and a lot of that interfered with my plan. They were supposed to have been supporting me, and I took what I did to make Robert happy, but instead,
and you pushed him out there to be the star. So were you
They
there?
wanted to run it. Yeah.
Were you there when with that first big break with Natalie Cole? Were you part of that era? Okay, so tell us about that beginning and that first experience. So that beginning of the making of R. Kelly.
Well, again, this came after. Oh, that came right after I took them to the people that sponsored me. Again, those things are written in my book.
Of course,
in sequence, and that came after, because during that period when my sponsors tried to take over what I was doing, we fell out. And when we fell out, they had began giving Robert money. They had began just catering to Robert, and nobody else around him was getting anything, and we weren't working. Our work was Robert Kelly, because I was hustling to make money with Robert, because he was a kid that didn't know. He wasn't going out here to hustle. He just played the piano, and he sang, and he was bashful, and he stayed in the house. When I came to get Robert, it brought him out. He began to stand up. He began to mold himself. After I think he looked up to me like a big brother, like a father,
big brother
with a big uncle image.
When you say you started to mold him, tell me some of the things that you did, because you said he was bashful. Like what? Bashful how? He wouldn't talk to people. Like what? Let us know.
He wouldn't really talk to people. Robert was super silly. Robert was super silly. I think that he was I think he was a little bit frightened of people in the early days. I think that I built his courage. I think that I helped him with courage. And once he began to see how powerful, how big of an effect his music had on people, then he began to stand up. He began to step out. And every time he would perform, I'm telling him how to do it, drill him, man, you got to put this in there. Don't be, But see, then Robert caught an imagination of his own, just like he writes songs. He doesn't read and write, but he writes songs. And so that means his imagination just blows up once he takes something in. And that's
the fact that he couldn't read and write, do you think that caused him to be kind of bashful and insecure? And when you came along, you kind of gave him confidence? And
I think that, I believe that that's how it is. I believe that Robert is a clone of a man to me regarding who he is. And now after my sponsor's situation failed, it drew me to the streets. It took me back to the streets because I had to feed myself. I didn't have kids then. It was just me. And I put those years in Robert. And when that failed, Robert, I couldn't take care of Robert. I couldn't, we can go to Subway, but Robert, I couldn't make enough money being with Robert and get him to the next level. So I hit the streets and I began to resort to my learned behavior as a kid, growing up in the streets of Chicago on the west side, and Cabrini Green, Henry Hornet, and K-Town. And I had a street image that got money, so I went out and I made money, and I went to jail after that, and I actually went to rehab treatment.
But we want to know what some of the things that you saw when you were with Robert in that camp. There are a lot of things coming out now, and I know because you and I've had discussions at length, and I want you to clear up some things. During the docuseries on Lifetime, it came out, or it sounded as if you forged a document. Can you talk about that? Because I think people believe that you forged something. So yes, let us know about that.
Thank you for asking that. I did not forge any documents. What happened was Lifetime again. Me and Lifetime talked about 3.5 hours. Talking about Robert's beginning, going over my book. They called me because of my book. And they threw questions at me, and I was fumbling with words. And as you see, I'm talking a little faster and a little slower now because I want to make sure my words are correct. Because my
take
words
your time.
Get twisted so fast, and it's just a shame how things get twisted and how I'm portrayed.
Well, people can twist. The media will twist words. I mean, you talking to somebody who's not going to.
Let me answer that question, okay? And that was about the forging. I did not forge anything. I did not put my signature on anything. What I did was I didn't drive them. They followed me to a location that they didn't know where that. So they followed me in the car. to a place where Leah went in and got identification. That identification got her marriage license. I did not force anything.
Okay, so stop right there. You were there. Did Aaliyah go willingly? I mean, do you
Yes.
believe this is something she wanted?
I believe Aaliyah was a child, and I believe that Aaliyah was confused, and I believe that what happened should not have happened. And
That's
I think
a great
that,
answer.
Again, I need
Yeah.
to go back and if I could turn back the hands of time, I think better today, and I think better today.
Yes.
And had I made a different decision, I think it would be different. So that pains me, and that's that.
Well, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of people
forgive
involved.
myself and all that. I have to.
You have to forgive yourself.
But it doesn't
yeah.
stop hurting. Okay, it doesn't stop hurting.
I
You
know.
tell me to forgive myself. Don't tell me that anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
People upset me with that because they don't stop hurting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like a painful memory, Yeah.
It hurts that I didn't make the right decision. It hurts because maybe that's why all this is happening.
Do you think do you think you could have stopped it though? To be honest, look back at what was going on. Could you have stopped it?
He sure could have stopped it.
See, I asked what my change is things, man.
Yeah.
But when you let people just go by and go by and go by, they grow into that ugly
monster.
They grow in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what has happened. Robert Kelly was a sweet kid. Robert Kelly is a fun kid. Robert Kelly he's super silly, but at the same time he's gentle and he's kind. R. Kelly is a monster.
Yeah.
He has grown. He has grown inside that kid, man, and that's another story. Come on.
It sounds like you guys are talking about two people. When I hear everybody who knows R. Kelly, they talk about Rob and R. Kelly, and one person sounds like a very humble, gentle, wonderful person, and the other person sounds like a demon.
What's up, His Lordship? What's up, Purple?
And people don't understand that. And I'm looking at the Lifetime series, and I'm not condoning Robert Kelly for his actions. I'm not trying to come to his rescue for what he's done with Tiffany or what he's done with Aaliyah and that video that I saw. However, I can't stand on Robert when it comes to the video of Sparkle's niece because they found
we got it. You got to go back. You said Tiffany. What happened with Tiffany?
Tiffany, I didn't explain what Tiffany.
I know it's in your book. I know it's in your book, but go give us a little detail because people are gonna go buy the book. But tell us a little bit about Tiffany. Mm-hmm.
Tiffany Hawkins was one of Aaliyah's background dancers and singers. However, R. Kelly knew Tiffany before Aaliyah, but I found that out later. That was not circulating when I was with him. When I got with Robert in the years once we got the deal, then we put together the group Public Announcement. This is after MGM. MGM was Robert's first group. Then Public Announcement. Now we put together Public Announcement and the Girl Dancers. The dancers came after Public. But anyway, the Girl Dancers and Public Announcement. Once we put them together, I forgot the question you asked me.
Tiffany Hawkins. She was one of the dancers.
Yes. They used to come and practice to be background vocals and dancers for Aaliyah. That's when he started. That's when I started noticing them. Coming around, and they used to come around and be at the Robert's apartment building. He had a dance studio there. That's where they would be when I came. And they would be in there practicing, and their parents, grown folks, would be there too. I don't know who was who.
Oh,
I just saw little girls dancing, and I saw grown folks there. So I'm assuming that's their parents.
So it was supervision. It wasn't just like these girls were with him alone. Their parents and other people were around.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. Now, when I would leave that section, because Robert didn't need no monitoring when it came to rehearsing.
Yeah.
Robert was he could and they would be in there practicing, and their parents, grown folks, would be there too. I don't know who was who.
Oh,
I just
okay.
saw
So,
little girls dancing, and I saw grown folks there. So I'm assuming that's their parents.
so it was supervision. It was.
Wait a minute. Did you just hear this guy? Did he just say there was grown folks around and, it could have been their parents? What? Is he lying right now? I cannot. You want to throw R. Kelly under the bus, but then you want to protect him at the same time. You're sick. You're sick. You need help, Demetrius. What? In the book, you ain't say nothing about these parents and that parents and this parents. The only thing you mentioned was that the parents had to give the kids permission slips to go on tour. That's the only thing you said. You also said that you don't know how these girls were hanging out so damn late and their parents ain't say nothing. They were sleeping over, right? Where were their parents then? They weren't there. What the fuck are you talking about, Demetrius? What? You're a whole liar. It's like Demetrius is so conflicted. He was conflicted at trial. He didn't know if he wanted to tell it all or not tell it all. He didn't want to be there, but he wanted to be there, but he didn't want to be there. He was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here, but I'm here. Just ask me my questions and let me go home. Like a big fucking coward. You say you wanted to protect Aaliyah. You still didn't protect Aaliyah because you went and took the fucking stand and you still didn't protect her. You still didn't let it all out. You only said what you wanted to tell. You didn't tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help you fucking God. Right, Cherie. I forgot the question. Hey, Ty, what's up, baby? Right, Ty, lying his ass off. What the fuck? Like, what is going on here? No, lying his ass off. You know? What is he talking about? Let's get back to this bullshit. Let me see how many more minutes I'm going to play. Okay, we're in 15 minutes. This interview was 45 minutes long. So I'm going to let it play for another 5 minutes. And then I'm going to pause it. And then we're going to get into some reading. And then towards the end of the live, I'll play it again or maybe in the middle of it. All right? So let's continue, guys.
Wasn't just like these girls were with him alone. Their parents and other people were around.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Now, when I would leave that section, because Robert didn't need no monitoring when it came to rehearsing.
Yeah.
Robert was he created the dance steps. He created the vocals. He created the attitude. Once he began to come into his own, then it was nothing. Everything was new to him. He was excited about what he was building inside of himself. Mm-hmm. So he grew in everything just as he did in his music. And his confidence had just come all the way up. He just knew, because I kept him knowing, man, I would take him places when he was little, when he was 16, 17 years old, take him everywhere with me and have his piano with him. And I'll stop at picnics. We'll stop downtown at different bars and in the evening time, because he was young, he couldn't get into the clubs, but I would go in the hotels that had piano bars, and I would sit him down in there and sing, and we put our cup up there and we get money. And we just was always busy making money and portraying and advertising them. Mm-hmm.
Demetrius, I'm going to take you back to Tiffany Hawkins. What happened with Tiffany Hawkins? How old was she? Give us her age and give us what happened.
Not sure how old Tiffany was, because I didn't really know them.
Okay.
Approximately 16, 17.
Okay.
Could have been 18.
Okay, could have been.
Could have been
Okay.
18. You see, at
So
that
what
time, because I
happened?
didn't know.
Okay.
She
We're
was
going to keep you on task here.
15,
What happened?
14,
Okay,
15,
Tiffany Hawkins was the first girl.
16.
Again, she was Aaliyah's background vocals, and Tiffany wanted a career in this. When Tiffany found out that Robert did something with Aaliyah, I
Oh,
think I forget which one was first. It hurt
okay.
Tiffany.
That's fine. Yeah.
She thought that she was Robert's girlfriend.
You know,
And I
she
had
was
no
in
idea
junior
this
high
was going
school.
on. And I had seen Tiffany, yes, again, but didn't have any idea that how long Robert had.
Okay.
Could have been 18.
Underage. Okay, could have been.
Could have been
Okay.
18. You see, at
So
that
what
time, because I
happened?
didn't know.
Okay. We're going to keep you on task here. What happened?
Okay, Tiffany Hawkins was the first girl. Again, she was Aaliyah's background vocals, and Tiffany wanted a career in this. When Tiffany found out that Robert did something with Aaliyah, I
Oh,
think I forget which one was first. It hurt
okay.
Tiffany.
That's fine. Yeah.
She thought that she was Robert's girlfriend. And I had no idea this was going on. And I had seen Tiffany, yes, again, but didn't have any idea that how long Robert had knew her, none of that. Okay, I used to see them girls, little girls, young girls, come to wherever we rehearsed at, because we rehearsed on Lakeshore Drive at the park. And Tiffany came to me. She called me one day. I was working, and she called me, and she was crying, and she was totally upset, and she worried me. And I asked her where she was, and it was a life and death situation at that moment with Tiffany. Again, those things I made a long story short, because everything I talk about,
It's in the
I
book.
wrote about.
It's in the book.
Yes.
Yes.
And so Tiffany, I went to her, and she was in a hysterical state. I convinced her to believe in me, and she did. And what I convinced her to do was, as she told me that, she didn't tell me exactly that Robert had touched her, but what she told me was that, she was upset and she was going to hurt herself because she thought he loved her and he was doing this and that, and I was the one that his girlfriend. And I know.
Wait a minute. How you don't know that he touched her when she was saying, you know that that's his kid. He knows that that's his kid. What do you think that means? He touched her. He had sex with her. She was saying she was pregnant. What the? Yo, this dude. Wow. You're lucky you got immunity. Oh my God. You are so lucky you got immunity. And they should revoke it because you still ain't tell the whole truth on the goddamn stand. What's up, Top Notch?
Everything I talk about,
it's in the book.
I wrote about.
It's in the book. Yes.
And so Tiffany, I went to her, and she was in a hysterical state. I convinced her to believe in me, and she did. And what I convinced her to do was, as she told me that, she didn't tell me exactly that Robert had touched her, but what she told me was that, she was upset and she was going to hurt herself because she thought he loved her and he was doing this and that, and I was the one that his girlfriend. And I know she said that he touched her. Robert touched her. She said, I've been messing with Robert for long. I said, what? I said, girl, you don't got to do this to yourself. That's a low down. You don't do that. I got this person. You go talk to this person. And now she stopped to listen to me because I was telling her how she could get some redemption from what she felt. And she listened to me, and I advised her to go to an attorney. She called me also, and I called Robert too, because this was unacceptable to me. So I called Robert and said, Robert, this girl here out here trying to hurt herself, man. What's going on?
What did he say?
And he said, man, where's she at? Man, bring her here, man. Bring her. He said, well, I'm not going to bring her there, man, because she's hysterical, man. You talking to come in. You talking to come in. And then I told her, exactly, I'm not biting punches. I said, well, he wants to talk to you. I let her talk to him. And then she talked to him. And I said, Tiffany, she wanted to go see him. I said, well, Tiffany, you really shouldn't be. This is the lady who I want you to go see. And we went down there with Robert. And that next morning, she went to see that lady. And what's the name? They called me. The attorneys called me and brought me down, and they asked me what happened. I said I didn't know. I told them that what Tiffany told me, and I thought that it was wrong, and that's why I brought it up. And from there, they called and they made deals. And
it sounds like what's been reported is that she got a settlement from him. So there must have been something inappropriate.
I thought that was wrong. And then right after that, all this was going on during the Aaliyah era with the marriage. And after that, I just didn't like Robert no more. I just didn't like him no more, and I left. We didn't get along with nothing because he wouldn't listen to me about anything, and I left. Mm-hmm.
So people are asking again. This is for you to tell. There's a lot more detail in your book, Man Behind the Man. Mm-hmm. So of course we want people to go out and purchase that. I will put a link in this video, but people want to know: did you see anything? So you're talking about Tiffany Hawkins. No. Let's just explain to them how come you weren't aware of it, because so many people in his camp are saying, well, I didn't know what was going on. So give your perspective as to how you couldn't see that he had a fondness for young girls. Let us know.
Okay. We went to meet. You taking me into some details, and I can only describe your answer in 2 words, in 2 ways. Mm-hmm. Robert Kelly and R. Kelly are 2 different people.
Okay.
There's a spirit in a man that's evil, that's wicked. We all have a spirit in us that's evil and wicked. One is evil and one is good. Okay. Now, what you learn by ways of consequences and discipline.
Yes.
Now, when you get disciplined, when you're disciplined, when a person listens and does what their parents say, then they are disciplined in a way to help you to understand the demons in you, basically. When my mama used to make me stay in the room from doing something wrong and I couldn't go outside with my friends, it stopped me from doing the things that I was doing wrong because I wanted to go outside with my friends.
Yes.
When I committed crimes and I went to prison, I would come out of my cell thinking I was tough and I didn't want nobody to think I was weak, and I would fight. And then I would get beat up by the police or get into it with people all the time. Now, when I went back in my cell and they locked me up, I didn't want to go back out of my cell and get beat up by the police or get into it with guys. So I had to contain that evil in me, you see, so that I would not do that. And then I grew into goodness. Okay?
So bring this back to R. Kelly. Bring this back to Robert.
I'm going there right now. Now, in regard to Robert, he has those same, you do too. You have those same 2 spirits in you of good.
I'm an angel. I'm good.
You're an angel because you learn by way of discipline, or you learn consequences.
Oh, yes.
Now, Robert, the same thing. Mm-hmm. Robert has never had any discipline. Robert has never dealt with consequences. His consequences were, well, okay, man, we can work this out. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. And then he was trained when he was little, and people would give him what he wanted. And he, learning the way he is now, that he was raised in abuse, sexual abuse, that sex demon in him is strong. I mean, you got to go into biblical things when you talk about Robert right now. It's a biblical thing, and it sounds out of all because that's a spirit that's risen in him. And if you know the Bible, and the Bible says if the body is the temple of Christ, then when you have sex, and the Bible says it's better to marry than to burn in hell, because the more you have sex with different people, those spirits, you take on those spirits. Now, here's a kid that's been raised in abuse, and the only spirit he takes in is a sexual spirit from different people. From my understanding of what his brother said, that he was molested as a kid, and Robert said by people in my family. He didn't say one person. He said by people in my family. So that means several people he was being involved with. So that means he was being raised in abuse. He was being taught in abuse. So that demon in him grew strong like a wild weed, and now it's into a stump. Now it's like a tree. And it's hard to cut down. And see, I'm not defending Robert Kelly. Let me finish this. So I want you to understand. I'm not defending Robert Kelly for his actions with Tiffany or Leah and that girl he's pissed off. He needs to go inside himself and take that demon out of him, because that was wrong. Now, the girls that were up there on that panel now, that's a different story. They walked in a pattern that they wanted. See, Robert, I've never known Robert Kelly to be abusive to a girl, to a woman.
Okay.
See, when I was
You've
with
never
Robert
seen
Kelly,
it. You've never witnessed it.
no, I've never witnessed Robert shouting at a woman. Robert taught me how to be gentle to a woman.
We're going to leave it there. Cliffhanger. Lion Demetrius Smith and crackhead Demetrius Smith. We got two Demetrius Smiths. Right. Oh, my God. Ah, man. So, Demetrius. Yeah. So, you could have helped him. You could have gotten him help. You could have talked to Daryl McDavid and said, listen, I think he needs to see a doctor, somebody. He needs to get help from somewhere. I think he has a problem with all these young girls. I think he might be doing things with them, this, that, and the third, and you could have got him the help he needed so that he could stop. And maybe he wouldn't be in this predicament. And maybe all these other girls wouldn't have gotten abused along the way. If somebody back in 1980, what was it he said? 1985 to 1995? 10-year span. Within 10 years, you could have gotten that man help. But instead, you wanted to let him be and let him do what he wanted to do as long as you was trying to get paid. But then you was complaining about not getting paid. But you was still around. Make that shit make sense. You became a groupie. Basically. Like, after a while, it didn't even matter. You was just trying so hard. You became a groupie. That shit is crazy. So now he says in his book, he says, all right, Rob, let's get this rolling so we can leave. It's time to roll. We got a lot to go over. I said as I was picking up his bags to take them out. He got offended and told me that I was not about to come in and start giving him orders. So R. Kelly wasn't feeling him giving him orders and telling him what to do. He did not like people to tell him what to do. He felt like he was the boss. He says, I simply told him I did not fly across the world to get caught up in another country for some young girl bullshit. He looked at me surprised that I had said that. I didn't like it that Robert was not conscious of the danger he was putting himself in with the company he was keeping. And I wanted to fight with him now. So after a while, he started getting tired of seeing him with these girls all the time. I told him I couldn't do it. I couldn't stay unless he allowed me to do my job. After stating that, I left the dressing room. I was hurt. I thought by Robert requesting me to be there, things would be different. I thought to myself in lonely despair, asking him the question, man, Robert, can't you see what you're doing to yourself? I just couldn't reach him or get through to him in any way. As far as I could tell the girls, R. Kelly would be entertaining, to be honest. Looking at them, I could not tell if they were of age. Robert didn't go for the girls I liked. He went for who he liked. They weren't girls of whom I would ask to be my company because for me, they were too young. But for R. Kelly, I didn't know how old they were. I just hoped he wasn't having a problem with having to have an underaged girl. The truth is, being a pedophile is a sickness. And just like any other sick illness, it needs to be treated. It is no doubt that this is a condition that bears shame, but at the same time, ain't nobody better than nobody else. The business part of the tour, he was giving me hell with running a smooth ship. Mr. R. Kelly was not seeing things, and I mean that literally. He was not looking. Robert was too busy having all the fun. Romans 8:28 said, "And we know that all things work together for the good to those who love God and to those who are called according to his purpose." R. Kelly, to me, is a gift, and I would hope that he loves God. But as we all know, denial is blinding. Hey, T-Bone, what's up, lady? How are you? Carry your ass back home if you can't do what I tell you. R. Kelly said to me as I walked out of his dressing room. And that's what I did. The next morning, the promoter paid me a first class ticket back to Chicago. This is when he said that he was on the tour, whatever, and that he wound up leaving. They gave him a ticket to go back home. And that was the last time he seen R. Kelly. Right? So at this point, excuse me, guys. So at this point, it's 1995. Okay. As soon as I got back to Chicago and barely settled at home, I got a call from Barry. Yep, Barry was still Robert's manager. This is 1995, y'all. They had worked it out somehow. What I figured was that Barry was only in it for the money. Then, at that point, he says, I had heard rumors that Robert had paid out about $3 million or more to compensate somewhat for the pain he had caused to Aaliyah and her family. Barry and I talked about what had gone down in Europe. He told me that I had to learn to put personal issues aside when it came to business and to do what was necessary to continue to feed my family. I thought about a situation, and I was sure then he was there for the money and thought to myself how right he was. But Demetrius, you were there for the same thing, bro. How you trying to like criticize him, but yet you doing the same shit? It was all about the money. He was the cash cow for everybody. So they're like, oh my God, we need to make sure but nobody got him help. This is the shit that fucking pisses me off. Nobody got him help. Everybody loved him. Everybody this, everybody that, but nobody fucking helped him. Nobody. Nobody helped the girls. Nobody helped him. Everybody was out for themselves. This is horrible. Then he says, sometimes you have to look past or go around things to get where you need to be when it comes to making things work for you, he said. Look at what he did to me and my family. Was I supposed to walk away? No. And this is what Barry said to Demetrius. About the whole situation with Aaliyah and R. Kelly. Barry's like, sometimes you got to look past it, let it go, make it work where it needs to work, because, I need money and I need to eat. Yep. And right now, R. Kelly is feeding me. So I got to do what I got to do. I love my niece too. May she rest in peace. At this time, of course, she wasn't gone yet, but you know what I mean? I'm saying rest in peace. He's like, was I supposed to walk away? No. What? Oh, God. Yeah, you were supposed to walk away. You were. You were supposed to walk all the fucking way away. Instead, you stayed there and the sister took money from R. Kelly and swept everything under the rug, act like nothing happened. Then you decided to take her to Timberland and Missy Elliott to work with. And that's how that happened. And then she got with Damon Dash and all of that behind that. Oh, I'm sorry. He says, now what we have is unfinished business. We laughed. That was what Barry said. That was the last thing Barry said to him. Now what we have is unfinished business. And then he says, we laughed for a moment and I got serious again. It has got to be hard for you, I suggested. It has been hard because I have feelings for Robert like a son, and he betrayed me. As much as I enjoyed the lifestyle and the true feeling of exhaustion, I just could not seem to understand how Robert dealt with being famous. I don't know why, but Robert never wanted to socialize with his peers. Robert's brother Carrie called me one evening and said, man, I need you because I'm tired of my brother treating me like shit, he said. He was upset. I'm gonna do something about it too. I don't give a fuck. That nigga don't give a fuck about me or my brother, he said. So now we're gonna go into the story of Carrie Kelly and Robert Kelly and their little spat and some shit that went down. Okay? He felt being inaccessible made people more in awe of him. In my book, he was awful. The boy should have been an actor. This is what Demetrius is saying about R. Kelly. He's saying that he felt being inaccessible made people more in awe of him. But in his book, he's saying he feels that he was an awful person. And he says the boy should have been an actor. Okay? An actor. R. Kelly should have been an actor and a singer. Singer, actor, dancer. No. The facade he was portraying was all an act. Like he said, and everybody else that says that they're around R. Kelly, when they get to know him, there's Robert Kelly and then there's R. Kelly. Okay? Now, You Are Not Alone was the song Michael chose. Michael Jackson. He's talking about Michael Jackson now. I was excited to be the one to set up all the arrangements for Michael Jackson to come to Chicago and record at the CRC studios with R. Kelly. But right before Michael Jackson was to arrive, R. Kelly changed. Okay. Now, I don't know if we talked about this. I think I did. No. No. Okay. Now, this part right here is talking about how this guy, we'll get to his name in a minute, okay? But this guy, okay, who was working with R. Kelly, who was supposed to be, I think this guy was a John Doe, okay? Honestly, if y'all hear the little shit that I'm about to start spilling with the little T, I think this guy might have been a John Doe, okay? Because R. Kelly promised this guy some dreams, and this guy wanted to be a rapper, and he was very upset at the fact that R. Kelly was taking advantage of him. So I think this guy was in a little bit deeper with R. Kelly than we know. But this is just my opinion, my assumption. I'm not saying that he definitely was a John Doe, but I don't know. I get that vibe. I get that vibe. So, T-Bam, what's up, lady? So, now he says, this is something where the guy that we're going to talk about him in a second. I'm not going to say his name, but he comes over to Demetrius Smith, and this is what he says. He says, right, no, this is, yeah. This right here actually is Carrie Kelly. This is Carrie Kelly. Carrie Kelly. What is it? Carrie or Carrie? Carrie Kelly. This is what he says to Demetrius Smith. It was him who said this. It was Carrie Kelly. He says, I got those tapes I took from his ass, and I'm gonna sell them, he said. And I want you to help me, Johnny. What tapes? I asked. Man, Johnny, you know all the time he tapes himself fucking them hoes he be with, and I don't even give a fuck. Carrie Kelly was very upset with his brother. He was very upset with his brother. So then he says, Robert just looks out for Robert. All he do is give them bitches anything they want. He doesn't give us a second thought about shit. We don't fucking matter to him. And I'm his brother. This is Carrie Kelly now. Now he says, I took a couple of his tapes out his bag. Fuck Rob, Johnny, man. I'm tired of that motherfucker treating me as if I ain't his brother. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. But wait a minute. Carrie Kelly came out and said, all that stuff was a lie. All that stuff was a lie. I did it because I was mad at my brother. Remember when he told Tasha K? I take all that back. I take all that back. Remember what he said when he went to the trial? And the news reporter asked him, so how do you feel about all this and the accusers? They're all lying. My brother never did anything to any of these girls. They're all lying. They were of age. What? Pero wait a minute, hold up, brother. Porque over here, Demetrius is saying something else, bro. Demetrius is saying something else, bro. I don't know. Right, like, yo, see, the only fucking novela, bro. The only telenovela, okay, is called the R. Kelly saga. Why? And this is Carrie Kelly saying these things. Now, Demetrius says, yes, Robert did not care about any of our needs, and that hurt the people that were really close to him. But I could not see myself helping Killer cross Rob the way he was talking about doing him. Now, Killer, we know, is Carrie Kelly. Okay? Killer, Carrie Carrie, right? Okay? So when you hear Killer, he's talking about his brother, Carrie Kelly. So he says, Killer, you can't do shit like that to your brother. I told him. Man, he don't give a fuck about me or you either, Johnny. You just be working your ass off, and that motherfucker don't care about you. Killer was really upset, and he wouldn't let me to say anything. He went on expressing his anger. Man, Johnny, you remember when that nigga got his Benz? You was cleaning it for him one day, and he told me you was a good bitch to have around, and if you was a woman, he'd marry your ass. Now, you tell me if that's a motherfucker that care anything about you. You know I'm telling the truth, he demanded. Okay. Carrie Kelly was like, wait a minute. You over here protecting that nigga, this, that, and the third, but let me tell you a little secret about your boy and how he think and what he think about you. He think you his bitch. How about that? You a good bitch. What? Sip some tea. Sip some tea. Hey, Les Smith, what's up, baby? Yeah, this book is juicy. I took out the juicy parts. I read all the book. I read the book, but I took out the juiciest parts because this book is long, girl. It's almost 500 pages, and I just, I wanted to hurry up and get through it. So instead of me reading the whole book, I took out the juiciest parts. If you do want to purchase the book, in the first 2 videos that I released about this saga, if you look in the description box, you can get the book on Amazon. It's I believe it's $20, and it's on paperback. And then you can also get a hardcover too, but that's more expensive. Or if you want, you can do like what I did too. I bought the book, and then when I also subscribed to this, I forgot what you call it, but it's an app. It's called Scribd. Okay, as you can see, it says Scribd, Scribd. It's an app where you could read books, magazines, documents, articles, music notes. It's a pretty good app to have if you want to do research and stuff like that. Like, I found a lot of documents, legal documents when it comes to like Keith Raniere, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump. There's a lot of things. If you go through this app, you can find anything if it's there. It's a really good app. I pay $12 a month, so, and I get access to everything, and I can also upload documents, which I have. I've uploaded a lot of R. Kelly documents in there. So, yeah. So, anyway, shout out to Script. So now he tells him, I'm sorry, Demetrius, but you know what? He don't think no better of you, bro. So now he says, Demetrius says, I remember back when we first started traveling back and forth to New York, Rob and I would be in a 2-bedroom suite. And oftentimes he would walk to and from rooms freely and in front of me, butt naked. He would laugh at times as if to take it for a joke, prancing through the room playfully. Like he had gay little tendencies then, from the start. Then he says, what's wrong with you, dude? This is what he says to R. Kelly while he's prancing back and forth naked. What's wrong with you, dude? Put some clothes on, fool, when you come through here. I would yell out in disgust. I wasn't into that, nor was I looking at Rob or thinking of him to have gay tendencies. Well, R. Kelly likes it both ways. That's what he is. He wanted to discover things, and he discovered things. He was bi-curious. That's what he is. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's okay. Now, he says, but sitting here thinking back, if he said that to his brother, this is Demetrius, maybe it is a good man he misses having around. The nerve of that dude. I saw Robert as my brother, the brother I never grew up with, and my loyalty to and for him was sincere. When Killer told me that, I felt like I had been stabbed in my heart. It broke his heart to call him a bitch. He was a good bitch. It broke his heart. Then he says, I didn't want any part of helping Killer. I thought he was wrong. I mean, R. Kelly was his brother, and I just didn't think it was right to sell out your brother. Something Killer was threatening to do. Killer went on in his rage. Johnny, if you ain't gonna help me, then fuck it, man. I'll call somebody else. And you can tell him I don't give a fuck, he said. And I could hear the frustration and seriousness in his tone. I didn't want any part of helping Killer. I thought he was wrong. I mean, R. Kelly was his brother, and I just didn't think it was right to sell out your brother. Okay, sorry, I just read that. Killer felt he wanted to make his brother feel the pain of not caring for a loved one. Killer wanted to hurt his brother back. Fuck my brother were Killer's words. And from the tone I heard over the phone, he meant every word of it. When I got to Killer's house, he was home alone. He played the videotape for me. He said he had taken it out of R. Kelly's gym bag. The tape showed R. Kelly having sex with several girls and women. One of the scenes was with Robert's wife. One of the scenes was with Robert's wife, as well as a bunch of other girls and women. Girls and women, he said. Now he says, baby girl, it was before they were married. It was a video of him with Andrea before they were married. Another was with a white girl. He was eating her asshole out on top of his pool table at his house on George Street. And the other scene was of him and a young girl. He was teaching her how to give him head. You heard that, guys? Ah, boy. Uh, uh. Killer showed me the tape because he thought I would be receptive to helping him obtain some money because of the way his brother was treating him. I wasn't feeling that, even though I was insulted over what he had told me about me being a good bitch. So now the brother's thinking about extorting R. Kelly because, you know, the way he was being treated by R. Kelly. Now, remember, do you guys remember when the brothers did a conference in front of the federal building in Illinois when their brother was about to start trial? Remember? And the wife of the brother, Carrie's wife, came out and has said, oh, yeah, you're talking this, you're doing that, da 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 da. Don't you forget that how you took $50,000 from your brother to buy back that videotape you got from him. Remember that? Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember when she said that? So now he says, but the thought of betraying Robert didn't develop at all in my mind because I knew that people and their lives would be devastated if this got out. I felt I had already been a part of too many ruins. I spent about 2 hours talking with Killer, and he gave me the okay to allow Daryl to confront Robert about the tapes he had. Barry was in town at the time. When Daryl called me back, he told me he talked with them and they were willing to assist Killer, but they wanted Killer to come to the studio where Robert and Barry were. So, this is what happened, guys. Then he says, I couldn't entertain the thought of helping him, especially since the intent was not meant for good, but for nothing but more evil. I was just there to see what he had. Killer gave me the tape, and me, with my stupid, loyal self, took the tape right to the studio instead of going somewhere to make a copy for security purposes. But I wasn't like that and didn't feel I had to be like that with the person. So now Carrie gives him the tape. He takes it straight to the studio. But he was thinking, well, I should have taken this and made a copy of it for security purposes. Yeah, no, in case I gotta tell R. Kelly, well, listen, nigga, you don't fucking pay me, motherfucker. I'm gonna take this tape and I'm gonna bring it to the cops. Yeah, no. I guess that was the only way that people were able to get a response from R. Kelly, by exploiting him with these tapes. So now he says, I took the tape to the studio where Daryl, Barry, and R. Kelly were waiting for me. You hear that, guys? Daryl, Barry, and R. Kelly were waiting for him. Barry put the videotape into the recorder. He viewed just a portion of it, showing the scene where R. Kelly was in the sexual act with the white woman eating her asshole. Ow. Now, Barry immediately took the VCR tape out of the tape deck and said he didn't want to see it. He then ripped the tape apart, destroying it. After the tape was disposed of, Robert, Barry, and Daryl went into another room in the studio along with Killer. That must be where they went and they did a polygraph test with him to see if he made any more tapes. And I believe Kerry said that somewhere, that he did take a polygraph test. I don't remember where I seen it. I just can't remember where, y'all. I think it was even in paperwork. I can't even remember. So now he says, I don't know what happened in their meeting, but later that night, Robert accused me of putting Killer up to trying to extort him. Ooh. I argued against the false accusation he made towards me, but it was fruitless. As the days went on, R. Kelly told Daryl to stop allowing me to hold on to Bass Productions Company checkbook. He said he no longer trusted me. It's nothing you can tell me to make me change my mind, R. Kelly told me when I confronted him about his distrust. If you distrust me, Bob, then I no longer need to be here. This is all bullshit you keep putting me through, I told him. So he said, this is the bullshit you keep putting me through. Bullshit, man. I can't stay around no more. This is Demetrius. Then he said, Robert was so selfish. I can remember when he first bought the house on George Street. He was so excited that he had a 20-foot long fish tank built in the wall. I don't know how much the tank cost, but I do know that he bought 2 sharks that cost $30,000 a piece. Like, he went and bought a whole fish tank in a wall, and with 2 sharks, spent $60,000 on bullshit. Then he says, if I wanted to get at him, I could have arranged for him to be robbed when I carried $60,000 and $70,000 around in the trunk of the car for his disposal? I could have cleaned out his bank account and took off. R. Kelly would travel with $60,000, $70,000 around in a bag. I picked all the cash up after every concert. I could have taken a large portion of the money for myself before turning it in. I'm just not that kind of person. I was outright loyal to this man. 50 grand, I thought, all at one time. What choice did I have? Yeah, that would be cool, I told him. I could get myself together with that, I agreed. It was 3 days later when Barry got back with me. He told me R. Kelly would not agree to give me $50,000, but he did agree to $30,000. Now, what happened here was that being that he was going to separate from R. Kelly owed him money. So being that Barry said, okay, well, we'll talk to R. Kelly to give you a severance pay. And that's what it was. He asked for $50,000 and R. Kelly disagreed. And instead, he made a negotiation with Barry and got it down to $30,000. Now, $30,000 is what the agreement was for. So now, Demetrius was supposed to get a $30,000 severance pay when he left. Now he says, I'm also going to ask him to give you a severance pay. This is before that. Like I told you, some of these things are out of order. So he says, I'm also going to ask him to give you a severance pay for all the years that you've worked with him. I'll be on your side and letting him know giving you severance payment would be the right thing for him to do. Let's say about $50,000. Would that be a good number for you to organize yourself? He asks, and this is what Barry was saying to Demetrius, because Barry's the one who came up with the number. Then he says, I met with Barry at the Knickerbocker Hotel in downtown Chicago to pick up the check. He had a couple of Muslim brothers meet me at the front desk to escort me to his room. So remember, Barry Hankerson walks around with the Nation of Islam brothers. Okay, the FOA or FOI, something like that. Right, Fruit of Islam. Yeah, the FOI. So then he says, it was then I understood why Barry had security with him, because if not for the Muslim brothers being there, I would have probably went off into a rage on him. I was boiling hot inside because he just found out that he's getting an X amount of money instead of the $30,000. And here it is. He says, when I got the check from Barry, it was for $24,000. I thought it would be for $30,000, I said. Robert told Daryl to deduct the computer he just bought you, the watch that was stolen from him at the hotel, and also for his computer that was stolen. Because remember, in the hotel in Missouri or whatever, the watch was stolen. And I believe that's the watch that was Lisa Van Allen stole, and a computer. Now, when I pulled out my wallet, I noticed that I still had R. Kelly's old American Express card. Now, this is after he left R. Kelly and all of that. He did the check, all of that, right? So one day he's, just decided to go through. He went, he pulled out his wallet and he noticed that he still had R. Kelly's old American Express card, the credit card. And it had his name on it. So he slid it through the gas machine and it still worked. So he filled up his tank He said, I thought it would have been canceled, but it worked. So he was surprised. He was still, walking around with the credit card and it still worked. So he said, I went on a shopping spree on the way to Milwaukee. We stopped and bought boots for the children. Then we went to the mall in Milwaukee and I bought gold chains, clothes, and we got back home. We went to the mall again. He said, I also furnished Sonia's house with a living room set and a bedroom set for her son, Malcolm. It seemed that once she got that furniture, then things began to go downhill. Sonia was still living by herself, and I was living in my house. This was his girl. I even took my mother furniture shopping at Harlem Furniture and bought her a living room set. I bought my sister Cece a computer, printer, and all. Some of my family members who were hurting and sleeping on crates, I took them shopping and bought beds for my brother's wife because he was incarcerated at the time. Okay, so he went on a little shopping spree. He took R. Kelly's credit card and said, it still works? Okay, fuck it. Daryl suggested I go see Rob, so I drove up north to the studio over in my old neighborhood by the Cabrini Green projects. When I arrived, I was met at the entrance by General. Okay, guys, you ready? Now, this guy, General, I don't know who he is. Now, remember, Demetrius said that in this book, he named some names and some names he changed. So I don't know who this guy, General, is, but he's a character, guys. He's the guy that I told you I think is the John Doe. His name is General. Generall. General. Okay? And he is one of R. Kelly's hangout buddies. Okay? So he says he went to go meet him at Cabrini Green Projects. Okay? Now, he was around when I was there and was still hanging out in the lounge area of the studio, hoping for the opportunity to be produced as a rapper by R. Kelly. So he's talking about General. That General used to hang around there, okay, in the studio and in the lounge area, hoping for an opportunity to be produced as a rapper for R. Kelly. He says for now, he was still being a flunky for Rob, hanging around and running errands, underpaid like most people that clung to him. You would think that a person who co-wrote a song with the famous R. Kelly would be paid and happy. Fiesta was a hit. But General told me he was very disappointed with the way things were going for him. He told me R. Kelly allowed him to rap and co-write the song Fiesta off the R. Kelly TP2 album. So General helped R. Kelly with that song Fiesta and ain't get paid right. Or ain't get paid at all. Let's continue. Then he says, I told him he had to take a stand for himself. That as long as he lay around under R. Kelly, being his flunky, he wasn't going to do anything for him. He agreed with me and asked me for my phone number. He said he had some things he wanted to talk to me about. After I gave him my number, I went up to the studio where Rob was. When I walked in the studio, R. Kelly was sitting back on the sofa with a young lady in between his legs. And what do you think was happening there? The girl was giving him head, right? She was giving him head. I was disturbed by what I saw. So I told him I'd wait out in the hall while he got himself together. Hold on, R. Kelly said, stopping the girl and giving her instructions to wait in another part of the studio. Then R. Kelly says, man, what's up, boy? He asked, getting up from the couch to give me a hug. Like, your dick was just hanging out with some girl sucking on it. You gonna get up and just like, okay, and you coming over to hug me? Like, what? You had some little girl sucking your dick just now. I just witnessed this. What? Then he says, how ironic it was that a few weeks before I met up with Rob, I met a white girl named Shannon that had a voice out this world. In this day and time, I would have compared her to Christina Aguilera. He says, couldn't work with any girls under the age of 18 anymore. And said, R. Kelly said this. This is what R. Kelly said. R. Kelly said that he couldn't work with he couldn't work with any girls under the age of 18 anymore, and said he didn't know who to trust. Demetrius, I feel like girls are being planted on me, is what he said. I assured him that Shannon was 19. So he agreed to meet with her. So the next day, I returned to the studio with Shannon. She was overly excited to meet R. Kelly. On the way there, I made it clear that the only way we were going to get any production out of R. Kelly was for her to follow my lead in dealing with him. I told Robert about her and the fact that I wanted to manage her. I asked him if he would produce her for me. The first thing he asked was, how old was she? She auditioned. Rob saw that she had talent and was a cute white girl with a soulful voice. He agreed to work with her under my management. When it was time to leave, he wanted her to stay at the studio with him. Uh-oh. He said he had some tracks he was going to let her sing. I told him we'd continue the next day, but Shannon interrupted me, agreeing to stay. Right then, I was pissed with her because I knew R. Kelly was going to lock her in one of the studio rooms and keep her hostage, promising her this and that. And that's exactly what he did. Ay, ay, ay. She was 19. And he locked her in one of the studio rooms and kept her hostage so he could have his way with her. But he wanted to show her a good time and not produce her. He was gassing her up. He coerced her, persuaded her, enticed her, induced her. Uh-huh. It's a pattern that this man has. That's why he was caught with the Mann Act, a sex trafficking law. Okay? Right. After a few weeks passed and nothing was becoming of Shannon's recordings. He had her singing with some other girls, but the real deal was he was fucking her and she had stopped listening to me. She wasn't allowed to go anywhere unless it was with him. So after about a month of the same old thing, she was ready to come back with me. During this time, General, here goes General again, decided to leave R. Kelly. He called me and said that he took my advice to do things on his own. I didn't know why. I hadn't talked to Barry for over 2 years. All I knew was that he and R. Kelly were going through something and they were cutting their business ties. I found that out because Rob let me read a letter he had written up for Barry Hankerson. He said Cheryl Cobb wrote the letter for him. I always felt Robert should have apologized to Barry for disrespecting him and his family by being intimate with their little girl Aaliyah. Nonetheless, that was their business. I didn't want any part of their feud. Shannon ended up living in the studio, literally living there daily. I would go to check on her and I end up hanging out with Rob. One particular day, Rob took me to a fitness gym called East Bank Club on Kinsey and Hubbard in downtown Chicago. After the workout, we went to meet with a couple of his female friends in the restaurant area of the facility. I sat at a separate table as if I was his security, sipping on a cranberry juice, while Rob sat at a table right across from me, entertaining his lady friends. I kept noticing Rob staring at me as if I was doing something wrong. I was thinking to myself, what's wrong with this dude? I hope he don't think I'm flirting with them girls. Even though one of them kept turning around smiling at me, I paid her no mind. After a few moments with him staring back and forth at me, he all of a sudden jumped up from his table and motioned for me to follow him. I did. I got up and walked behind him, wondering to myself what's on his mind. I followed him to the men's room, the men's bathroom. This was where we were going to end things if he mentioned anything about me and them girls. I didn't know what was on his mind. There were no girls or mischief on my mind. Now, I'm wondering if this time with the dinner was the time that, because this is 1995, y'all. I'm wondering if this is when he was with Lizette. Now he says, soon as the bathroom door closed, he turned to me. Johnny, man, I feel the spirit of the Lord on me, he said with the crying remorse voice. With the crying remorseful voice. Praise the Lord, I said. I instantly thought that God had intervened into our lives and something miraculous was about to start happening. Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna take a quick break, guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play the rest of that interview, okay?
Robert Kelly taught me that. I watched Robert with women, Samada, Kim Delaney, out of him because that was wrong. Now the girls that were up there on that panel, now that's a different story. They walked in a pattern that they wanted. See, Robert, I've never known Robert Kelly to be abusive to a girl, to a woman.
Okay.
See, when I
You've
was
never
with Robert
seen
Kelly,
it. You've never witnessed it.
No, I've never witnessed Robert shouting at a woman. Robert taught me how to be gentle to a woman. Robert Kelly taught me that. I watched Robert with women, Samada, Kim Delaney, several women. When I said on Lifetime that I used to fly people in and out, I was not talking about minors. And Lifetime placed my words where they wanted them to be. See, they placed me there as if I was there. I don't see why R. Kelly can't sue Lifetime because they truly created this program to bring him down. And I'm not a
wait a minute. So you participated and so now let's bring it back because now you're saying you think that he can sue Lifetime for this? You participated in
it's everything that's going against this man. They found him not guilty.
Okay.
Therefore, we're bringing that back up. That should not be able to be brought up. You've got girls up there violated agreements that they took money. Now they're violating that agreement. You got his wife up there saying she didn't know what kind of man he was when it all began with her.
Let's say, let's clarify who the wife is. We're talking about Drea Kelly, right?
They're talking about Drea Kelly. And then you got another woman up there, 31 years old, or she was a woman when he met her, and she was a DJ or something. She knew he was married. That's a violation.
She wasn't, are you saying that she was with him while he was married? No. Oh.
Okay. Okay. Wow. This girl was the same girl that was on the I Wish video. And I went back to Robert on the I Wish video. My daughter was in that video. That's the girl who braided his hair.
You got all kind of history. Yeah.
And like I say, his wife was one of the first ones that, I mean, the way that Robert is, Robert became controlling. And I think that is because of his illiteracy and his abuse. We shaped the man. Robert's characters, his stage presence is a lot of me. His music is all him. But the man that he is, we shaped him. I shaped him. Barry Hankerson shaped him, and everybody that softened him, that didn't discipline him, that let him get away with the things that he did to hurt them. We all shaped the monster that he is.
That's what I was going to say. People allowed him, not necessarily that everybody aided him, but people gave him a pass because of who he was.
When and the people that he violated with me was the first one. That's when I first learned his character. But when the people that were supporting me came to Robert Kelly and they tried to take him over, they were giving him money, and then next thing you know, it's a affair going on in there. That should not have went on. Robert should have had a little more honor and morals to not mess with somebody or burn a bridge that was taking care of him. These people were supporting Robert, and he violated the man and messed with his wife. Okay.
So you told me
let me finish this. I have to not blame Robert for that because he was a minor himself. So that's another state of abuse that he grew up in.
You mentioned that to me, and that situation is in the book, correct? We're not even going to talk about that. We're going to let them go to the book. But what I will say is what you told me is that he was even abused or sexually, that women in their 20s, 27, was still having sex with him when he was 16. So his level of abuse has continued like years.
Robert has been walking in abuse. His whole life is walking in abuse. I didn't know about what was going on in his household. I didn't know about what was going on in his household. I had heard that, but I didn't see that. And I think I had Robert feel confident when he was with me to know that I would protect him. I've been in places with Robert and people have been disrespectful, and I had to knock a few people out for Robert. You see?
Wow.
I was loyal to Robert.
What you mean disrespectful in terms of how?
Well, we would be somewhere in Robert, and one time we were in Detroit. And we we were up there we were in the studio doing something. I think it was with Gladys, or he was doing some musical stuff with on one of his songs, and we would go out and girls would come. Right, they knew Robert Dean, and we picked up a few girls, and when I say girls, I mean women. I mean teenage women.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't mean babies, please.
Right.
Robert didn't mess with
I get
babies
it.
with me. I didn't stand for that. Okay. Now, when we would pick up girls, we'd pick up young women, and we would go out and have fun. And
of course,
one of the guys, it was one of his girlfriends, and when we took her home, the guy was waiting for her.
Oh.
And was waiting at the house. You know, our jealous boyfriend. He was waiting.
Of course.
We had not did anything with this young lady. We had done. I don't know. They didn't do nothing in my sight. But at the same time, it was late at night. We dropped her off, and she got out the car, and this dude jumped out the car. And Rob got out the car. Hey, man, what's up, Johnny? What's this, man? And I got out the car with him. I said, what's going on, man? I said, man, don't grab the woman, man, because he was been to be violent with her. And Robert said, man, don't let him touch that, man. And so I went over and knocked the dude out because he kept on coming at me talking crazy. And I don't be arguing. I don't do that. And we left after we left him. And certain other situations have happened that I had to, me and Robert have had some, go ahead.
I want to go back to the Drea Kelly, because you mentioned that some of these women sitting up on the panel knew what was going on, as if they're saying they're victims. We're not talking about the young girls, the pedophilia. We know that is wrong. But let's talk about the grown women and what you saw. Now, there's two people in particular that people were talking about, Sparkle and Andrea. Andrea, rather.
I never. Okay, Andrea's wife. I know for a fact that she was a dancer.
Yes.
I know for a fact that she was submissive to Robert's, I don't want to say demands to Robert, what Robert asked him to do. She was submissive to that.
Okay. So you said she agreed to it, she wanted to do. Okay.
Robert, I don't know Robert to have a cult or to. I mean, it's not brainwashing. He just choose people that think like he does, and Robert is illiterate. Robert cannot. He can have fun with an older woman, and if they want to have sex with him, they want that. And Robert will do it with probably anybody, but older women liked him and were interested in him. But Robert was a young man, and he had a wild, his little head overruled his big head, and he couldn't be contained by a woman because he didn't have trust in women or people. But yet he was gentle to every woman that I've known Robert to be with.
Okay, back to Drea. Now you said she agreed.
Drea.
Yes.
Yeah, because Robert had three female dancers, and all three of them used to sleep in the same room with him.
Huh?
All three of them used to get off the show and go right to the bus like he asked them to. They all had a choice to leave because they used to come to me. Andrea, all of them used to come to me talking about what they would like to do, and I used to tell them to go to the mall. I said, y'all go ahead, man. Y'all don't got to stand. Go ahead. I'll take the weight for it. And because I used to tell them, and I tell Robert, I told you to go. I dropped you off here. You see, well, I didn't think that you should. I think that you're a grown person and you're doing a job here. That's it. And Robert wanted to control everything that came in. Robert, we fell out a lot because I'm his tour manager. I'm his personal assistant. I have a job here.
Yes.
He would not allow me to do my job. He wanted to do my job too. Robert wanted to control me to where
he controls everything.
He controlled everything. You see, we went on tour with Gerald Levert. We went on tour with LL Cool J, Salt and Pepper. It was always something, and I was always the one that kept it smooth. I had so much work to do. I didn't have time to really look at Robert and his activities. When we got to different cities, I took Robert to a mall in every city.
Okay. So now let me say, but were you passing out those notes to the girls? Because now that's another thing that people are confusing you with, saying you're giving out those notes. Okay.
No. Okay. I didn't pass out any notes. What I did this was born into the 90s. This is when we first got started. This was the Born into the 90s tour. Then we went to the 12 play tour. During those times, Robert there was a lot of girls. And we would go to the mall in the early times when I would go with him was to get him noticed. Hey, y'all, that's that guy that was on that radio. Ain't that R. Kelly? That R. Kelly dude. Robert needed to be built with confidence, and I was in the habit of doing that for him. I made people aware of him, and they would go flocking, and he would sign autographs and be shy, and act like he was just shy, like, oh, man, he's so sweet. He was deceptive.
I'm about to say that sounds like a deception.
Right, he was. But we didn't know this. You see, this is that demon in him. That was. What's the devil's job? Steal, kill, destroy. He's in all of us. Do we allow him to stand strong? He stood strong in Robert. Robert is a light. This whole thing is not about him, but yet the truth must be revealed, or it's going to keep coming around because that's what God intervenes.
Okay, we're gonna go back to Drell. Why did he get married if he knew that he wasn't gonna be able to be with just one woman? As far as you know.
Why would a woman marry him? Why would a woman marry him knowing that he's always been with more than one woman? That's my
the lifestyle, the money.
But now you're complaining about these different women when she knew it. She knew what was going on with Robert. She stayed in the room just like them girls do. She did it.
But you be staying in the room.
When Robert she didn't talk to us anymore. We didn't have a relationship with Andrea and them. They couldn't really talk to us because that's what Robert had told them. And he told the band, hey man, y'all, I'm not going to associate with other groups. When we go do concerts, we was on tour with Salt and Pepper. He didn't want nobody to associate with them. I did. His brother did. Bruce did. The band did. But the dancers and the girls, they weren't supposed to associate. You see,
Demetrius, can you please explain? Because I've heard that from multiple people. Why? What is the reason why people cannot talk? What is the issue? Because it makes no sense to the average person. Why wouldn't he let people talk?
Here's a person that has never been in control. Here's a person that has been abused all his life. Here's a person that has been called a dummy and illiterate, and now he's got power. This is something he's not used to, and now he sees the control. He got lost in that. A demon is controlling that. Again, when I keep saying stuff like that, I want you to know I'm not condoning Robert for what he did. I'm not condoning that demon in him to say that.
Yes.
And I'm not condoning that demon. I think he needs some help. And I don't think that, I think that he's being jumped on. I think it's unfair of what he's going through with the media, with the police, with the city. I think all that's unfair. I think that he should be able to sue everybody, in my respect. But this is all because he walks proud. I think that he should walk differently because of the things that has occurred that are true.
There's a lot of truth and lies mixed up, and I think some people are probably capitalizing on the fact that
the truth is Tiffany Hawkins. The truth is Aaliyah. The video was thrown out, so that's gone. Now you got another little girl saying she was 14, 15, 16. Why isn't he arrested for that? That means there's something funny in that. You see?
What do you mean?
You got a girl on TV saying she met him. He met her outside at the courthouse, and he did this and that.
Oh, Geronda, yes.
Right. Now, why isn't he arrested for that? That was a violation. Can she prove it? And apparently she's on that show, and they haven't arrested him for her. Then
he had an agreement with her. He paid her off.
Then she shouldn't be on there. Then she shouldn't be on there. Then where does the law stand strong at? Then she shouldn't be on there. Okay. Now
so you're saying it's a breach. You're saying it's a breach of contract for her to go speak on something.
If contract mean anything, I took Tiffany to a state official. I thought that her obligation was to report this because she was a minor. Therefore, if he bought his way out, he bought his way out. Why couldn't Bill Cosby do the same? You see, if you can buy your way out of stuff.
Yeah.
So everybody's allowed him to get a pass. Now you want to take everything that he did in the past and redo him with it. That's wrong.
That's interesting. No, you got a good point. Everybody took a pass when they were getting the money, and now maybe that the money is funny. Now people are coming forward because now there's more to be gained to tell now. I mean,
why are you still talking about that girl? Why are you still talking about that girl in the tape and he's still with her? Why are you still talking about the Savage's daughter and she's still with him?
What do you mean? Wait. You said the girl in the tape is still with him. The young lady. I think they say Rashonda. I might have the name wrong. She's still with him.
Sparkle's niece.
She's still with him.
I've heard that she is. That's what I'm thinking. But if she's not, still, why they ain't talking to her? You see, why are you talking about Aaliyah? We know that happened. He finally admitted that. He finally
yes, he did.
Up front to say that. Yes, he did. Okay, that's done. He did that. To me, I'm uncomfortable with Robert when it came to Aaliyah because he did that and he should have stood honorable with Aaliyah because Aaliyah was a kid and we loved Aaliyah.
Yes.
We loved her. And I heard over her. And I think that her family has gone through enough in respect to talking about her and talking about her mama being in the bed. That's done. Aaliyah's not here to defend herself. And her mother doesn't have the courage to do that. She's lost her husband. So let's leave Aaliyah alone. Let's leave that subject alone. Okay?
Yes. I understand.
Aaliyah had no fault in this. None.
Mm-hmm.
She was a young child. And anything
you know
after that.
And it's sad that there's some people are dragging her name through the mud behind this. It's really sad, though, that part.
It's really sad.
You know?
Those people don't have any, those people, that's that spirit in us. That same spirit that's controlling Kelly has gotten strong. We all have it in us, y'all.
Okay, let's go back
to a man that's ugly. Okay.
Let's go back to Sparkle. Now, she just did an interview yesterday on The Breakfast Club, and she says that she did, well, I don't want to say, and all of this stuff, I'm going to say allegedly because it's not my story to tell. This is your story, a book you wrote 10 years ago about your life that included R. Kelly. But she said that she didn't have a relationship with R. Kelly, a sexual, or she alluded to that. Some people are calling me yes. Did she or didn't you from what you saw? Okay.
I did not know Sparkle. I knew Earl, who was who was a member of Public Announcement. I knew that Earl quit the group. I knew after that Robert was producing Sparkle and that I know Robert. And then I heard that Robert had an affair with Sparkle. And
were you around during that time?
Yes.
Were you around? Oh, okay.
No, I was out. I had just left.
Okay.
I just left.
But close enough to know what was going on, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know that Robert had seduced Sparkle, and I know that it broke Earl's wedding marriage up. Robert has hurt some people. I mean, even the people that supported me, Robert, there was infidelity there. However, Robert was young, and I put that on them because they were older. Mm-hmm. So that was another form of abuse. Okay, now, they should deal with the same things Robert's dealing with in respect to looking at people as being pedophiles. Okay, even me in dealing with women. Sometimes when I was younger, my children's mother was younger. I'm not hiding from my past because I grew to make me a better man. I walked through some things that I'm not proud of.
Mm-hmm.
But it made me the man I am today. I sought understanding in the things that I did wrong and why I did them. I fought my demons. Robert Kelly has never fought his demons. Andrea, his wife, she knew her husband. She knew him. Okay, he did not just start doing this. And again, I can't say what they went through behind closed doors in respect to how they their relationship of abuse. But I know Robert can get mad just like any other man. And if you're set in certain ways and you do certain things for a certain length of time, then you get tired of doing something. But that opportunity to leave is always available. Robert is not holding anyone hostage.
So you don't believe that he kept the women? You don't believe he kept the women and wouldn't allow them to leave and not feed them? Because now that seems. I mean, let's be honest. Why would they lie and say, "Oh, he didn't let me eat for 3 days"? Like, who makes up a story like that, Demetrius?
I'm gonna tell you this. I had an artist. Her name was Shannon. Shannon was a Caucasian, was a white girl. And very talented young girl. She lived in South Bend, Indiana. I met her out there at a Builder Square, and I wasn't with Robert anymore. And now I was trying to find myself, and I ran across Shannon and heard her singing. And I was like, wow, this white girl can go. And so I took Shannon under my wing, and I thought about it. I said, well, I ain't working with Robert. Maybe he'll produce her for me, right? And we were still cool. We were still on talking terms. I just didn't want to work with him no more because it was still buck wild, meaning that he was still girl crazy. And I think every entertainer does that when they're young.
Yes.
But Robert was
Yes.
older, but his mind was young. Now, when I took Shannon to Robert, I told Shannon, I said, Shannon, Robert's going to want you to stay in the studio with him. He's going to want to do this and that. He's going to want to. Next thing you know, you'll be staying overnight. And then when you do that, Shannon, you're not going to get anything done. Now, I'm your representative. Please listen to me when it comes to Robert. I want you to go in there today. He's going to like you because one thing, you're super cute. Two, you can sing. Now he's going to say, okay, Johnny, I'm going to work with you. She's going to stay tonight because he's going to want to seduce you. He's going to want to control you. And she wouldn't listen to me because next time.
All right, guys, that was the end of that. There is a part 2 to this interview. I will be showing it. God willing, I'll come back tomorrow. If not, I'll come back Monday. And I will continue my reading of The Man Behind the Man. And we will finish part 2 of the interview with Demetrius Smith. All right, so guys, thanks for coming. It's been real. Thank you for sitting around with me, hanging out with your girl. Please don't forget to hit that like button, okay? On your way out, don't forget, for those who are not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you put the notification bell on all. Thank you very much. Don't forget, guys, all right? Hit that like button. Make sure you share the show. Share the show. Share the show. And for those who are on the replay, please make sure to leave your comments in the section. All right, let me know what you think about the interview as well as what we've been reading so far. And your girl Diva Divine Light is out. Peace.
You are watching Diva Divine Light.
You can fuck with me if these red bottoms, these is bloody shoes. Hit the scoop, I can get them both. I don't want tools, and I'm quick. Cut a nigga off, so don't get comfortable. Look, I don't dance now, I make money move. Now I gotta dance, I make money move. If I see you now, that means I don't fuck with you. I'm a boss, you a worker, bitch. I make bloody move. Now she say, gon' do what a hoop. Let's find out and see. Cardi B, you know where I'm at, you know where I be. Just a party, I'm there, I can play. I be in and out the bank, so